What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a brand new figure review for you, and this is one that I'm a little late on. I know people have been reviewing him for about a year now, but I don't see enough coverage of this guy, so I was a little bit hesitant to pick him up when he first came out, but I finally have him in hand, and I will say I have no regrets. So we're going to do a quick little unboxing here, and then we're going to get into the in-depth review. This is David from Cyberpunk Edgerunners. If you haven't seen the show, it's on Netflix. It's a really cool, gory show. The characters are really awesome, and I think the likeness that they captured in this figure is spot on. He has a lot of great details. Of course, he has these really nice soft goods, which we will look at in depth. But overall, I will say I am actually really impressed with this guy. His retail price is around $45 to $50, which is really what turned me off to him from the get-go. The price point was a little high for a Jada Toys figure, but after I had watched the show and after I saw him for a good price on Amazon, I had to pick him up. So let's go ahead and get into the review. Now, I've spent a little bit of time with the figure. I have some thoughts, and let's go ahead and jump into it. First off, I want to talk about the price point. So the price point on David is around $45 to $50, depending on where you get it from. I was able to find him on Amazon for $45, which was the best price I could find him at. I think that's about what he retailed for. So with that, you get the figure you see here. You do get his other head sculpt. This is the original one. The one on is his secondary. You get the arm cannon piece, which is really cool. I'll show how that goes on in a second. And then, of course, you get his secondary hand. So he has a regular fist, which you can't fit anything into the fist. It's just a fist, so you can punch and do stuff like that. And then he also has an open hand, which is for his gun and holding any other accessories. And you also get his gun, which I have in his hand currently. Really cool cyberpunk gun. And before I got him, I was actually just a little bit hesitant of the price. I thought for $50, I feel like maybe it should come with a little bit more. The size of the figure, he wasn't large, and when you're talking about Jada Toys, you're talking about value and what you get for the figure for a great value. So, with the Street Fighter stuff, I'm used to paying $25, $30, $35, and, the $35 is for a deluxe, really big figure, so I was a little bit hesitant about this one. But after picking him up, I have to say the quality on him is really nice, especially in the soft goods. Now, I'm going to say I'm not a huge soft goods guy. I only have a few figures that have soft goods on them, so I will preface that and say, I'm not an expert when it comes to soft goods, but I can say that the soft goods on this figure are some of the best soft goods I've seen on any figure. Personally, the jacket is really awesome. It's like a windbreaker material. The color is neon yellow or green and vibrant. He has these cool little pockets on the side and this awesome screen printing. I don't know if it's screen printing, some kind of printing throughout. It also has the Edgerunner logo on the back there, a nice liner. It has a really cool printed inner collar, and just everything on it is really nice. It's wired along the edges here, so you can get it into kind of a little bit of poseability. Really nice. Then he has these plastic sort of suspender pieces, which are cool. He has those in the show, but those are like a soft plastic. And then you get to his pants, which are, I guess, kind of like a denim material almost, but they're really nice. They fit him well, and it has that great screen printing along the inside and outside as well. So the soft goods are really, really nice on this figure. And so when I finally got him in hand, then it was really obvious where that extra $15 went on the figure. It's all the really nice soft goods that this comes with. So that being said, once you have the figure out of the package and you feel the soft goods, you feel the quality of the figure, I was no longer upset with paying $45 for this size of a figure. And let's go ahead and jump into a little more detail about him and the things that I like, and then we'll maybe talk about some negatives. But again, I had first and foremost to really make sure I touch on and stress the importance of these soft goods and how good they are on this figure. I think that he has a really nice design and sculpt. I think that he represents the character from the anime well. You can see here, that's his animated self, and I think that they did actually a really great job representing him in 3D sculpted form, so that's nice. I think he looks great. I think both of his heads and all of his accessories look really nice, and I'm really happy with the way he turned out. I love his weapon, and again, I just can't stress enough the soft goods, the paint applications. He has lots of little details. The shoes are like multi-colored. His hands are really nice and detailed with the sculpt and the paint. His head and he even has the cool haircut, and then he even has the detailing along the back of his spine up into the head. There's all these little details all over the place, and they really went above and beyond with the details on this, and it's really, again, you can really see where that extra cost in this figure went with all these little details. He has this great little hanging chain, and he's just nice, really nice overall. I'm impressed with the amount of detail that Jada was able to get into this figure. Let's keep diving into him. Let's remove his jacket just to see the articulation and everything better, and we'll do a nice articulation test. But first, let's do it with the clothing on, just so you can kind of see his range with his clothes. But he has a nice long neck. They're on a double ball peg, so you can see the range of motion that he gets is really nice. He has the double ab crunch, where if you go back too far, you start to expose that there. And his bottom ab doesn't have a ton, but he gets a nice extension there, mostly from the top, and then it will be the same with the bottom. He gets a decent amount of ab crunch there, nothing crazy. It's mostly from the top ab piece there, but it looks nice and it moves really well. Now with his jacket on, you can get him into a nice T pose easily. His arms can even go a little bit past 90 degrees, as you can see there. That's really nice. The jacket does start to get in the way from some of these double jointed elbows, where you can see that seems to be max range. We can see if we can get it a little further with the jacket off, but not a ton of range there. Hopefully we can get a little bit more out of that. 90 is okay, not great. He has a horizontal swivel, I believe, here. Yep, you can see there. He's got a little bit of a range in his wrists. Nothing crazy, to be honest. Other Jada figures seem to have the same articulation setup, but just a little better in range. You can see he has those butterflies there. So, he can get his arms in front of him. You can get like a nice gun pose there pretty easily, even with the jacket. So yeah, those do their job well. Really nice. And see how much he can go back. And those do a really nice job going backwards as well. You can see the range there is really good. That's even with the soft goods on. So impressive, really nice. Honestly, that was my first time doing that test. And outside of the elbow range here, I wish it got a little bit more, but outside of that, everything else on here is really nice. The ab crunch maybe as well. Maybe I would hope we can get a little bit more there, but overall not bad. So let's get his soft goods and his jeans are kind of tight, but you can still get it up to a nice 90 degree, and maybe you can push it a little bit past that, but I would be worried with the soft goods. Let's see his knee. His double knee gets a nice range, even with the soft goods. Not going completely flat, but pretty close, so not bad there. His feet, just like a hinge joint there. At an angle there, as you can see, they do have a nice swivel, but it is at an angle like that, which I don't always love, but still get nice ankle rock out of it there. His leg can get, a decent amount backwards there, nothing crazy, but overall articulation is pretty nice. The Jada stuff, engineering, I really like. They really have nice joint systems. Everything on here feels really smooth. I didn't have to heat anything up. It's really nice. So I like him a lot so far. Let's go ahead and take off the jacket, which I haven't done that yet. Let's see how easy or hard this will be. Oh, that was really easy. There it goes. So you can see the jacket there. Really nice soft goods. There's that printing in the neck. Really cool. And there he is without his jacket. His sculpt looks nice, you know, his muscle, you can see like the little cybernetic sort of lining and detailing. The back looks awesome. That like spine piece just looks great. Even when you're like articulating him, it looks really nice. There's some nice paint and shading on it. Really well, honestly. This figure's done really well. So let's test his double jointed elbows now without the soft goods. And maybe you can get just a tiny bit more range. Oh yeah, see, we got good range there. The soft goods do get in the way a little bit with his double jointed elbows, but without the soft goods, he's got a nice full range there. You can see how much that gets. So yeah, this figure is really nice. I'm impressed. I was not sure what to think. I hadn't really heard anybody talk about this guy too much, but he's super nice. He moves buttery smooth. I think he does a really great job representing the character from the show, and he's just really, really cool. I don't know if you can take the pants off. I'm not going to try, but you can see how great he looks. So let's go ahead and maybe try on his other headpiece. Now his accessory for his necklace is pretty long. Like when if you just hung it normally, it would hang really low. But you know, in the show, he usually has like multiple chains on, as you can see here. Well, that's kind of like double layered. So I went ahead and did that. And I think that helps it a little bit there. And I don't remember him wearing a cross. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you're like a big fan of the show. As I said, I've watched a bit of it, but it was a while ago, and I don't remember the details. Like, did he ever wear a cross? I'm not sure, but that is definitely a cross there. But really awesome. His gun is really nice. But so let's go ahead and talk about his arm cannon. So you can see there's like in the design, sort of like you can see there's this little gap, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. How does that work? So you can just stick your nail or something in there, and it's going to pull out this little panel, which you don't want to lose that. You can see that's very tiny. And what that does is basically just open up this port to slide in his like arm cannon that comes out, right? That's the right way, right? Yes. So you're gonna slide that in like so. And there you go. He's got the cool arm cannon popping out of his forearm. See, you can get him into some cool poses with that cannon there. Yeah, really cool accessory. And then of course, once you take it out, make sure you put his little arm piece back in, and that sits in there nice and snug, you know, doesn't really fall out. And that's really cool way to set up that arm cannon. Really nice accessory. I'm glad they added that. And let's go ahead and show you how he holds his gun. His gun fits in his hand really nicely. Just slides right in. He's got his trigger finger, and he is ready for action. Let's show that. Check this out. You can see like the range that he can get in front of himself there with his jacket off. So the butterfly is even better with the jacket off. We can get him into like a cool shooting pose. This guy is just super poseable, honestly. He's a lot of fun to play with. All of his joints are like buttery smooth. Let's see if we can get him in another cool pose here. As you can see, you know, he just poses super well. I don't know who would shoot a gun like this, but it looks cool. Check him out. So really nice. This is David from Cyberpunk Edgerunners. And again, I found him for a good price, so I definitely wanted to pick him up because, you know, after collecting the Jada Street Fighter line, I really enjoy their figures and just their engineering and articulation, and they seem to just keep improving. And so I was like, we gotta check out the Cyberpunk figures. They have the Rebecca coming out soon. They have the Atom Smasher coming out soon. And this is another line I might have to jump into just because this figure is really cool. Honestly, above my expectations with this guy. I wasn't too sure when I picked him up, but man, he is actually really cool. So, you know, outside of those few things like his sort of limited ab crunch there, that's really that's really the only thing I didn't like about him is his limited ab crunch, which he gets a good back, but forward. I wish he could do a little better than that, but he still hits some really cool poses. So thanks again, guys, for watching. This is David from Cyberpunk Edgerunners by Jada Toys. But thanks again for watching, guys. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you would pick up these Cyberpunk Edgerunner toys. Do you think they're worth about 45 to 50 bucks? Or do you think they should be maybe a little bit cheaper? You let me know in the comments below, and we will catch you in the next one. Thanks, guys.